Hey YouTube, it's Goddess. I'm doing Bel Air Season 2, Episode 6. So this episode is the family reunion. So this episode, Aunt Viv basically had to go pick up Uncle Phil's mom from the airport and bring her to the home because she didn't want to stay in the hotel at a suite or anything like that. So they put her inside the home. So she went and picked up, Grandma. And then Will had a discussion with Carlton. Carlton was working out again this episode, really working real hard over there at the weights in his room, and he was telling him how that Carlton was right about the Founders Award, that he don't know much about it, but that he did his research, and that he now wants to stay in the running. And then, Carlton, his per usual, was acting crazy, like usual, getting all upset. Oh, come on. You all of a sudden, he's like, first of all, the reason why I want to stay in the race is because basically the reason why he wants to stay in race because Doc told him that part of him being different than the other students to get the best scholarships and things like that, you have to be well rounded. So being up nominated or winning this founder award would be good, look good for him and put him ahead of everybody else that's in the running or wanting to get those scholarships. So he's like, oh, okay. So that's the main reason why he did it. So he's telling Carlton, I gotta have something more to myself than just I'm an athlete and I'm doing pretty good at school. I gotta have more to add to myself than just that because you have to be well rounded. He's like, yeah, whatever. He said, I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know so that we don't have no problems because I don't want no issues between us. I'm coming to you face to face and letting you know because I just want to keep it open between us because I know how you are. He's like, what you mean? He said, your anxiety, your stuff, and how Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv are worried about you. And I'm worried about you too because you are my cousin and I do love you. Like, I am worried about you as well and I don't want any problems. I don't want to put you in an issue because of this. So that's why I'm saying something to you. And I'm like, he's doing right. Like, he's saying it to your face. You want me to do it behind your back and then you'll be crying and having a whole heart attack and having your panic attack, which I feel bad. Like, he has an anxiety disorder, so he can't help it. But at the same time, Will can't stop his life and stop going towards things because you feel away. He can't stop that, and that's a good accomplishment that he was put up for that award, just like you. So why can't he have accomplishments because you feel away? Like, that's not fair. Like, and I'm happy that he stood up to him and told him I'm gonna go for the Founders Award. I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know. I care about your cousin, but this is something that can help me just like it's going to help your career. So why can't I go for it then? If it's going to help you, it's going to help me too. Like, because he's trying to do well and gear towards stuff too. Like, I think a lot of times people underestimate Will's character, Will, and always think that, oh, he's so funny, he's so dependable, he's so cool. But when positive things happen for him, because of how Carlton is, he's supposed to not go towards it because Carlton feels away, and I don't feel like that's fair. Like, how's that fair that he doesn't get to have his goals and get to gain anything in his life because you feel away, because you're in your feelings? That's not fair to him. Like, nah, I'm like, yeah, well, stand up to him. Sorry, Carlton, I like you and everything. But that's life. He's going to have to get through life and understand that life is just not fair all the time, and you're not going to get your way every single time. Like, he done pushed back a lot of things because he took into consideration your feelings all the time. So I understand when he first got there, you had an issue with him, and then, he dated your ex, so I can understand why you were upset with him and what have. But now, y'all beyond that. Y'all mended, and y'all are fine. So you have to let it be. Like, he was tripping. So, the family reunion started. So the uncles, the aunties, all of that is coming. Then the next thing they're doing is they were talking to G or Jeffrey, and G was basically talking to him and telling Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv how he was looking at what he was doing and how I need to admit something to you guys. I was looking for my son, and it was like, we figured that out. So we kind of found this information for you, and they were giving him information about his son. His son was adopted. So in essence, later in the episode you get the behind the scenes story, but that's the beginning. So they give him some information that they found about his son because his son was adopted or what have, put into the system or what have. So he's trying to figure out where his son is and things like that. And they just want to help him because they know that he's really looking for his son, and it's like really important for him to see his son. Like, he hasn't really seen him or anything like that. So G is like really happy because they gave him the information that he's been looking for. So he's like, oh, okay, that's great. Because I was wondering at first, I was like, why are they making it so secretive a big deal about him wanting to see his son? Like, what is the problem? Like, I'm not getting it. Like, it was real weird. But once they got deep into the story later on, I was like, okay, that's good. So then, you know, before the reunion starts, you know, Will and Carlton are talking, and Will's like, yo, what's the big deal about this? You know, I overheard, he was basically saying, I overheard, you know, about G and about his son and stuff. Do you know nothing about it? And it's like, not really. They really, you know how mom and dad is. You know, Uncle Phil on Viv, you know, he says mom and dad, though. How they be, like how they keep things from us. You know how they do. So he's like, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to ask myself or whatever. He's like, yeah, you're going to find out, I guess. So the family reunion starting, you know, we have the uncle coming, all the aunts, everything else. So, you know, Will sees G and he's like, G, you got to help me out because I don't know none of these people, you know, Banks family. Like, and it's kind of new to me and I'm kind of, you know, left out. I don't know who any of these people really are. He said, can you help me? He's like, okay. Well, I'll help you. It's cool, you know, I got you. I'm going to tell you all the people. Because G knew everybody. It was a lot of people. It's like, damn, they had a lot of family. It's like, goodness gracious. So, you know, they had a lot of aunts, a lot of uncles. And then they had, you know, Uncle Phil's brother, Uncle Phil's brother's son, his nephew. And then they have this big thing that they do, like this football game that they play or something. They're in competition, and you know, every time you watch these shows, they always have this like silver rivalry stuff that they have going on. So that's basically what's happening this episode. They have silver rivalry, and they compete with one another, and they compete against each other and things like that. And they always want to be, you know, the best and be better than each other. So it's pretty interesting. I was like, that's interesting. You know me, I'll just be watching the show. It's pretty interesting. I kind of like it. And then they have the daughter Ashley. While they're dealing with that, Ashley over there, she was trying to talk to the older guy, the uncle, whatever, you know, because she's like a very mature um, young lady, and you know, she wanted to talk to him, and he was just looking at her weird, the uncle. And then Hillary was trying to tell her that's how the uncle is. That's always how uncle is. Sorry. And she's just like, oh man, you know, because she's trying to get to know him, because you know she's very like mature behind her years, so she kind of identifies with older people and stuff like that. So she was just trying to get to know him, whatever. But he didn't want to talk or nothing, so she's like, okay, well. And then she walked away or whatever. And then Hillary over here, she's still trying to communicate with Jazz, and Jazz is not answering her. He left her on read. So she's in the kitchen talking to Will and to Ashley, and she's like, what is going on? Like, why is he acting like that? And then Ashley's like, you invited Lil Marcus, your ex-boyfriend, your ex-fiance, to the art show and didn't tell him. And then he's coming to the art show talking to him like, oh, da-da-da. And then come to find out that it's your ex-boyfriend. He fell away, girl. Look what you did. And then Will's like, I don't know what you want us to say about it. He said, I'm Bennett. I'm not in it. I'm not getting involved between you and Jazz in the middle. What else going on between y'all? You got to talk to him and figure this out. She said, I've been texting and texting. He's not answering me. She said, I wouldn't answer you either. Actually, I would not talk to you either. Look how you did him. I'm like, she got a point, but at the same time, he needs to grow up. Like, she is using him for something to help her with her business, and he was the only way possible that she was gonna be able to get the deal that she wanted, because she didn't have enough followers. And he gives them good press, and it helps them in reference to him being able to get for her to be able to get, people, and he's like a good standpoint over there. And then my whole thing about it is, I think it was good for the house, but then I don't think it's a good idea, because you should never reach back out to ex and ask for favors, because when an ex is like, okay, cool, and you broke up with them, from what it seems, she broke up with them because it was long distance and she didn't want to do it no more. And then furthermore, from the episode, she was saying that he was using her as eye candy, and he didn't respect what she wanted to do as an individual, what her dreams were, and she just couldn't deal with it no more. That's why they broke up. So my whole thing is, you do not go back to an ex and ask for favors from them, because it's always ulterior motives. And as you're going to see throughout later in the episode, it's an ulterior motive. He helped her because he wants to get back with her, and he wants her back and for herself. That's the main reason why. I knew that was the reason why. That's why I'm like, oh no, girl, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't mess up it. And I was just like very like disappointed in my jazz. Jazz for me. Jazz for me. It's a jazz for me, okay? You're disappointing me today. What is wrong with you? What are you doing, sir? Sir, you need to fix that. Okay? Okay. He was killing me. I was like, sir, let's get over our ego and talk to your girlfriend. Like, stop acting ridiculous. I understand he's mad, but he needs to articulate that. Converse about that, because he converse about any other thing. All of a sudden now that's pissing him off that much. Like, come on now, bro. Like, I get why you're mad, but then at the same time I don't get it, because she's not doing it because she wants to get back her ex. She's doing it because she needed that. If she didn't get that, she wouldn't be able to get the deal, because they needed either Ivy because of her followers, or she needed somebody else to come through, and he came through with the come through. But know how to go. So then everybody's coming into the house, you know. Everybody's saying, hey, grandma comes. Grandma is basically, the grandma on the show is basically the lady from, if you watched, what the hell was this damn show? It had the guy from the Jeffersons on it. If you've watched the show, you know what show I'm talking about. Basically a show where he was the head of the church, the guy from the Jeffersons. And then he had a daughter, and then the daughter was like in love with the deacon in the church, and she was like obsessed with him and stuff. And she was like harassing him every time, every episode, until she finally towards the end got him. She reeled him in. She was like the old school version of Mrs. Parker basically on the show. I cannot remember the name of that damn show, but if you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. So she played the granny, or whatever. And she's like, hey, baby. Talking to Uncle Phil, you looking good, baby. And she was hugging us like, you looking great. And then she said, where's my Carlton? And she was hugging Carlton. And she said, oh, my God, y'all growing up. And then, you know, Will's on side. He's like, ooh, I don't really know these people, really. And she's like, who's this? And he's like, I'm Will. She said, little Will. Oh, no, you grew up so fast. Come here. Give me a hug. So she hugged him. He was like, okay. And then, you know, Uncle, they had Bill Bellamy as Uncle Phil's brother. I said, oh, okay. That was cute. That was cute. I was feeling that. That was cute. So, you know, they in competition, like I was telling you earlier. So, you know, they compete for every little thing. So he said, oh, this year we're going to beat you at that football game. Watch, you finna see. He said, yeah, right. He said, Carlton, you ready for this? He said, yeah, I'm ready. And then, you know, his son came, yeah, we finna whoop y'all butt. Watch, you going to see. And I'm like, okay. Typical men in competition for everything. So they get everything ready. Uncle Phil had Hillary make a sweet potato pie. You know, he was cheating basically. He was supposed to make it himself, but he had her do it. So they had like a pie tasting competition. So they had Hillary taste test, because you know she's a cooker. So she tasted his and tasted the uncle's one, and then she was like, ugh. She liked the one she made, but the dad made her add more nutmeg and stuff and being extra, like doing too much. So she ate and she's like, this tastes alright, but we like, they named the pie some hot pie summer, some nonsense for the one, for Uncle Phil's one, hot pie summer. Like, what? Stupid. So she was just like, and then Carter was like, with name alone, can that just disqualify people for the name alone? I was like, I'm done with him. So basically, they lost because Hillary purposely lost on purpose. She just did that on purpose. He said, oh, so you cheating now. Uncle was saying, oh, you cheating now. Okay. You know, Bill Bellamy's character. He was like, you cheating. I think his name was, I forgot. You know, I don't got time to be remember. I'm just going to call him Bill Bellamy, because y'all know what I'm talking about when we watch it. That's his real name. Okay? So he was like, oh, so we cheating. That's what we doing? He's like, what you talking about? And then guess who showed up to the situation? Guess who? LaMarcus. I said, are you kidding me? Who invited this man? I'm like, oh, we invited him. I'm just like, seriously? So she was looking at him or whatever. And then she was like, oh, hey. He's like, you know, I'm just here, you know, for family. She was like, you know, just let you know that I'm happy for what you did for me and I appreciate everything you do, but I got a man and, yeah, I'm not really trying to mess with you like that. not really. And I'm like, oops. And he's like, okay, well, I'm here for the fam anyway, so I'm good. And I'm like, he was lying, basically. He was just saying whatever. Yeah, speaking of, where is your man? Since you claiming, oh, you that's your man and everything, why he not here then at the reunion? What's up? Where he at? He was like, okay, we don't need to talk about that. I'm going. So she walked away or whatever. So Nana or grandma, she was getting lit. They been drinking. She was drinking her some Henny. It was so funny. I think she was drinking Henny at first. She was just drinking. She was having a good time. Then they had, dinner ready. So, little Ashley went to the uncle, the same uncle that didn't want to talk to her, and delivered him a plate. And she said, here's your plate. And then she walked away, and he was just looking at her like, And then he just left the plate and looked at her. I'm like, what's wrong with him? Why he's so glum like that? What's wrong with him? That's it. Typical uncles. He's older, so you know how that is. Sometimes when they're older, they don't want to be bothered with people. They just want to be chill. So he's just looking at her, and he's like, whatever. So they play the football game, and guess who's gonna be part of the football game? LaMarcus is on. It's cheating, but so he basically invited LaMarcus so that he could win the game, cheating. And then Bill was telling Uncle Phil, oh, so this is how we do it. This is how we do it. We cheat. This is how we do it. We cheat. Okay. So it's basically like, okay, so we just gonna cheat in the game. So before they start the game, Will and G were talking, and Will went up to G and he said, like, how come you never told me about your son and everything like that? And he said, I didn't know how you would, like, take it, so I never said nothing. He said, I thought we were better than that, it made me feel away. And he's like, it's not me trying to hurt your feelings or nothing. It's just I didn't know what to do because I didn't have no information. I didn't want you to look at me a different way. He said, what you mean? He said, the reason what happened was with my son was basically I was into like these gangs and some really bad situations, and it was basically gonna put my girl and myself in danger. So they basically took him away and put him into a program or something like that. And he left her with the responsibility by herself, and he couldn't really like help her. So the mom was like, the mother couldn't take it. She's like, nah, I'm not gonna do this alone. So she put her child for adoption. So then they had an open adoption, but he was never really given any information, so he didn't really know much about his son. But now he has the information that his son is 22 years old, and he doesn't know if he should come into his life. He doesn't want to mess up anything, when he doesn't know what to do. And then we'll be like, I think he would want to know, who you are, and that you're a great person, and that you did the best that you could, and that you're a great dad, a great person, and he would love to have you as a dad. And he's like, okay, thank you. And he was like, yeah. And then he did a pound or whatever. And just letting him know that he supports him or whatever. So they played the football game. During the football game, they were winning, but in the end, they lost, basically. At the end, Uncle Phil, even having LaMarcus, still did not help him when he still lost. I was like, so you did all of that, making Carlton feel bad, and then the son feeling bad, and, and he still lost. I was like, really? And then they honored the uncle that Ashley wanted to talk to. But before that, she was getting like sweets, some cookies and stuff like that. And then he came up to her and he was like, oh, if you give me some cookies, I'll talk to you and tell you some stories and some stuff. And she was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. So she got a whole bunch of cookies and telling her that he fought in the military, and he's part of the military, the beginning of the military and stuff like that, how he served the country and how proud he was and things like that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. So they have history in the Banks family of someone in the military, with military stuff and high honors in the military. So it was pretty interesting, and they got close like that. And then, like I said, they lost the game or whatever. And then LaMarcus was talking to Will during the episode, and he was telling Will, like, he's coming after Hillary, he's gonna get his girl, like, he's gonna be friends with her for now, but he's coming after what's his. And then Will was like, I thought you was just trying to help her, that's it, like, what are you doing? He said, nah, I want her, and I'm gonna get her, like, it is what it is, I'm gonna get her bed. And Hillary in the episode, while everybody was like celebrating and talking to Uncle and having a good time, because they started, towards the end, they did like, a Soul Train line, they were dancing, and everybody, and LaMarcus was looking for her, and she was still trying to reach Jazz, and he wasn't answering. I was like, what the hell is wrong with Jazz? For me, I'm so disappointed. I was like, what is wrong with him? I cannot. And then in the episode, Bill Bellamy's character was talking to Will, because Will kind of identifies with him because he's a self-made man, and that was part of the episode too. The reason why they compete with each other is that the dad had more faith in Uncle Phil than he had with him, and he actually wanted to, Bill Bellamy's character wanted to go to school. I think his name is Lou. Lou wanted to go back to school, but the dad was like, nah, that's not for you. That's for your brother. So he's basically talking about, oh, your brother can go to school, but you don't need to be doing that. That's not for you. Like, basically telling him. And then he did all these things to prove that he was just as qualified as his brother. That's why he has all these dealerships, and he's hustled so hard just to prove that he's just as important as his brother, and that he could do all the things that his brother could do. Like, he's just as qualified. So it's pretty good to see, Like usual, parents have favorites, and one that's always, it's not like on purpose. It's just, sometimes parents see one child over the other having potential in a certain area, and they want to push that area and push the child to, and they don't mean to hurt sometimes, but it kind of hurt Lou when Lou did all of this accomplishments just to prove like he's better and he's good enough. But then he does the same thing with his son. It makes his son feel less than, though, in an episode, because the son was talking about how the dad will talk down to him, talking about that he's worthless and he's not doing this and not doing that. And he told Carlton, and then Carlton was like, yeah, I understand. Because they both were looking at each other like, damn, they be competing hard as hell, don't they? He's like, yeah, you know how they do. You know how Uncle and Dad is. And he's like, yeah. So during the episode, you see the dynamics, family dynamics, how they feel. And then Will was talking to Uncle Lou, and Uncle Lou was like, never give up. People may underestimate you and think that you can't make it because you want your hustle. Always do what you want to do and go for your dreams and prove them wrong, because you'll surprise people, because people have this, have this standpoint about you that's not right or not correct. I was like, oh, okay, look at my uncle. Bill Bellamy's character telling some positive things to Will. And Will took it and was like, yeah, you're right. Okay. And then Hillary still hadn't gotten in touch with Jazz. And guess what? As soon as LaMarcus told her to come out to do during the Soul Train line, the dancing thing, who responds back after? Jazz. Talking, oh, yeah, come over. You left her on red for her mad days. Ooh, yeah, I don't like that shit. That would have pissed me off. Like, first of all, we're in a relationship and you ignore me because you're mad about something, and you not speak to her for like a week or so. Like, that's immaturity right there. No, sir. Like, no, sir, Jazz. No, sir. I'm very disappointed in him, because that's not like him to be that childish. But we finna see what it is. We finna see, because I don't know. We finna see next episode, so I think we might be seeing, but next episode, I think we're finna see G's son. We finna see LaMarcus continue to try to get Hillary and make it clear what his intentions are, and then we're gonna see Jazz next episode, because we didn't see him since the last episode. We haven't seen him when he just dipped off and disappeared and didn't say nothing. The episode before last, we haven't seen him ever since, and we're gonna get more deep into that. And then we're going to get more deep into Will's work at being part of that team, and how that's going for him and things like that. So it's pretty cool episodes. And, I love this series, because it's not about, the same old drug dealer and all this other stuff and people doing this and doing that. It's like a real, like, you get to see depth with the characters. It's pretty good. So if y'all like the review for season 2, episode 6, talk to me. Let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you later, YouTube. Bye.